Attachment for a cell phone. There's not many cell phones that can actually handle this, so this is a construction phone. But you guys should be able to see me in there, so I'm the orange, red, and yellow guy. So sorry, Noah, but this is going to work. I'm the hottest thing inside the frame right now. So that's kind of how that works, and I make that joke on purpose because we're looking for blue and black. I want it to take shape or to start moving on its own. When I say take shape, I want a head, shoulders, moving arms, and legs. I want something walking or something standing nearby. That's okay, too, as long as it takes shape out of nowhere. So I'm boring Brooklyn already. You guys see the yawn? Sorry. You're like my target tonight. I'm sorry. You haven't said a word to defend yourself, so I'm going to keep attacking. But anyway, so with this guy, the cool thing for you is that there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. It is there to show you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. Now, tonight's ambient temperature is about 68 degrees. So I'm going to be looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. So about 53 degrees and below, if that makes sense to you guys. So even if we don't get a full-blown like figure in front of us, we might actually have something that shows up that's 40 degrees that shouldn't be. So windshields and glass are always going to be colder because this is a cooler temperature for us. So the glass is going to take on the wind, so to speak. So there's a lot of science that goes into this, but we're going to keep it nice and simple. We're going to look for blue figures and cold blue dots. Is that cool with you, Kelly? Because this one's going to you.
Oh, great. Yes.
Yeah, look at you. See how I don't reveal things?
How often do you get to see blue figures?
So I would get probably, to put my stamp on it, that it's definitely paranormal, about 4 or 5 a year.
Okay.
So,
I'm feeling lucky.
yeah. So do I get something every night? Not necessarily. So if we're not recording, we're not going to capture.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to.
And I'll always throw those stats at you. I'm perfectly fine with revealing, like, this is not an every night occurrence, but I will tell you that out of all the equipment, because I do this 5 to 7 nights a week. I already told you guys it's going to rain tomorrow, so it got canceled.
Oh, no, your news one?
Yeah, I had to reschedule them. So the 2 parties I did have scheduled, like, they canceled because I was like, why did they cancel? Like, I had 8 people, so it's going to be a good night for the news team.
Right.
But yeah, I was super stoked, and then all of a sudden they both canceled. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And then I texted all of y'all, and I was like, oh, it's going to rain. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a good thing that nobody was able to move.
Right.
So I was kind of cool with that. But anyway.
All right. I'm on it. But I have to keep someone in the frame?
8.2.
Okay, good.
Last night we actually added up to a 46.
Is it normal to see the same words that she hears?
Yeah.
Possibly.
So I heard family,
Family, and then
you showed up on family,
and then I
Family, house, and home are like, that's almost a nightly thing here.
and farmers. I got farmers too.
Interesting. I like that one. Hang on, let's get through the history.
Sorry.
Noah's already like, let's get going.
Yeah.
I know, you need to know what the hell you're looking for first. So the Pinckneys, right? So we're standing in the servant slave quarters. So who the hell were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for those secondary clues, why I always use at least 2 communication devices. You guys are getting my point. Now, I need to know which Charles is coming through in the event the name Charles pops up. So hopefully somebody else gets to verify. But anyway, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than all of you. So we're going to move on to Eliza. If I don't bring up that signer of the Constitution bit, they normally give me a very nasty message on a spirit box somewhere. It's like, hey, where's my recognition kind of piece. So I just learned, just tell that piece and move on. Let's move on to the mom, Eliza. She marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. For those of you with communication devices, if you start asking Eliza how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from, like 12 and 14. Yes, they would get married at your age back then. Think of today's standards, because the husband was over double her age when they got married. It was a creepy age gap then, it's a creepy age gap now. Yeah. Which, by the way, communication devices, this is where I start withholding information on purpose. I'm not going to be giving you questions like, what color is George Washington's white horse? Like what we did over there at the Big Red Barn, right? So you're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes. Moving on. She marries Charles because her father is over in England, where she's from, and he thinks he's dying. He's trying to bring all the kids home one last time so he can see them. Eliza doesn't believe he's dying just yet, so she stays put and gets married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry Charles out of true love, and this is a true love story. Don't poke the bear about affairs or any foul play in the marriage. It didn't happen. I'm just going to give you that heads up. Be respectful while we're here. She was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. That is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of you are wearing it tonight because that's what we use it for now. When she got the seeds, she didn't know what to do with it. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's obviously not hot here all the time. So when she learned how to do that, she learned how to make the dye, then moved it to a cash crop. Got a hold of Dad and said, rice plantation prices are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial days. Exactly. Hoorah. You got to see me during Women's History Month. We're going to talk about a lot of weird women tonight. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give each communication device kind of a set of focus questions. Keep in mind that we have a lot of pieces of communication here, so Danielle can ask a question and Alexa might get the answer. That's why I love to do this. We also have two cameras plus my voice recorder recording audio. So if you might ask a question, we might get it on an audio piece later. We don't know where it's going to go. So again, we literally have 6 pieces of communication. You're the only one that doesn't have communication, Noah. Sorry, you're safe.
I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm not a good communicator, she says all the time.
Let's start off things simple. We're going to go starting off with Alexa. So with yours specifically, it only gives us 1 to 2 syllables at a time. So you're going to start off with the mansion's not here. What happened to it? So you're going to hopefully hear what that tragedy was. And then if you get the what, we normally get the when. And I mean this very specific date. So we will normally get 2 or 3 numbers of that date. So kind of keep that in mind. Feel free to cherry pick the other questions that I give off if you're not getting those kind of answers, but that's going to be kind of the focus for yours. Eliza's the second wife named Eliza and Charles, back to back. So the first one dies in January. 5 months later, he marries the one I just told you about. Kind of a jerk move, right? But both Elizas also have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Figure out which Eliza we have by asking for her maiden name. You can also ask those marriage questions because that thing will give you numbers as well. So how old Eliza was, or Charles, or how long they were married. So just general, get a very specific answer. Liliana, your focus is going to be Eliza's death. So she's very open about telling you about it. The 4 common questions: how did she die? How old was she? Where is she buried? Who was a pallbearer at her funeral that was once a president? So 4 major questions. The only thing I'm going to ask all of you for communication, do not ask about Eliza's children. I will briefly touch on them before we leave the space, but it is it's a sore spot with Miss Eliza. If we start asking and poking the bear the wrong way, all activity stops, including the small EMFs that we're already getting. So kind of keep that in mind. I don't think I need to show anybody anything extra. I've already explained the EMF. We're going to explore the space. Luckily for us, we only have 3 cars in here. Just stay clear of the cars. I'm going to do 1 round robin with everybody to kind of see what's going on. If we have enough going on, I'll do a second one and then bring us back here and I'll give you all the answers and show you how it all ties together. But this space, I kind of promised Eliza we will stay here very briefly. Like, we're not going to spend a lot of time here, just enough to kind of get a little bit of evidence and kind of move on our merry way. So let's spread out a little bit. Let's see what we can start getting. And again, because you haven't listened to yours yet at all, I'm probably going to work with the 2 of you first, just to show you like how I listen to this guy. So you 4 go spread out, move very slowly, Brooklyn, as you kind of move through the space. But we're not going to leave this area. So, all right, you 2 ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
All right, let's go ahead and unmute that guy. Let's make sure you know how to do it.
This button?
A little bit further down. There's only one there.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Did not see that.
So it kind of needs a second to warm up, and then it will start giving you little burbs like that. So when you start getting those things, and you may miss things because you didn't hear it in real time, like I thought I said something, I heard a voice. We have the audio. So then you can always go back and kind of test the audio to see if there was actually something there. That's the fun part. There was something there, I just didn't hear it.
Me neither.
Kind of a lot is what I heard there.
Gotta really listen.
It's not easy.
It sounded like Shania Twain, The Way You Love Me.
And it's okay to recognize the songs, but no, your ghost is not going to do that. They're going to use the lyric from the song to be able to communicate back. So if you've ever seen the movie Transformers, there's a character called Bumblebee. He doesn't have a voice like all the other Transformers. He uses the radio from the car to talk to us. Same principle.
Okay.
Same thing. So if you hear, Harry Styles, I don't give a shit that you heard Harry. I want to know that you heard as it was.
Words, okay.
That's how it works. So again, Eliza's not going to know who these people are and say, oh, well, there's a Eliza Goodwin, and that's who was singing, and that kind of thing, and that's the connection we need to make. It's not going to be that big of a stretch. It's going to be very direct. So, still unmuted? It can be sporadic, just so you know. It's going to be very sporadic. That's why you're only going to hear like 15 to 20 terms all night, and then that are going to be that clear. Okay. But I wanted to make sure we kind of had at least something so you knew how I listen to it. And when I'm going over the history, I ask you to mute it simply because I'm trained to listen to this. I will lose track of the history part for you guys if I'm focused on that, because that's where my ear wants to go. That's why I ask you to mute it when I'm going over the history. Yeah. So, I was really hoping something would have came through while I was standing here.
I just hit 35.
Nice. So your new base is 25 now. 35. gave off as much electricity as your TV does.
When you.
You see how like you might hear something and the rest of the sentence might go somewhere else? When you, and then she might have something else. It happens that way all the time. So keep listening. You guys got this.
Okay. It's really hard. It's really hard. I thought we were going to be really good ghost hunters.
We just started.
It's true. It's true.
At the end of the night, we would Oh, do you want to ask the question?
I was unclear about the questions.
What happened to the mansion?
That's what we were supposed to ask.
That's what I was supposed to ask.
That was it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's my one question. And then when they answered, I was gonna. My follow-up question is when. But
Good one.
first question, what happened?
What's that?
I don't know.
I think we have to move.
Oh yeah, don't clear them.
Oh, yeah. Five, six.
Town.
Windows. Did you get windows?
So 5-6 town.
Town windows. Should I write this down?
So, anything yet, ladies?
Yes.
5-6
Town.
town.
Windows.
That's what I asked.
I've been asking how old.
She was not 56.
Ah. 1756?
Is that the year that he said?
I don't think so. I think he said 60 something.
Eliza, what is your last name?
Little,
Right.
what did it say?
I heard right.
I heard little.
Eliza, what's your last name?
Chamber. I heard chamber. Let's ask about the house. What was the question?
The house, the mansion is no longer here. What happened to it?
What happened to the mansion? What happened to the mansion? Please.
Please. Doesn't like when we ask.
This is a cold zone, yeah. Or maybe that's it. Oh, you're right.
Eliza, what is your last name?
Maiden name. Yes.
Rihanna?
I didn't get
Something
that.
with a J. 6 months.
Doing?
S? Something S. So we got chamber, 6 months.
Ladies, anything else?
Yes.
Chamber and 6 months.
And maybe the letter S.
Yes. Who the hell is S?
Maybe it wasn't S.
We should be fully confident.
That's true. That's true. Okay. These people with the lights are killing me.
I know.
Are the lights bothering you?
Liza, what is your maiden name? How old were you when you got married?
Spooky corner.
Alright. Anything else I need to know?
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Okay. I'm going to check up with the word list real quick, and then I'll probably yank this back to the back.
Let's go to this corner.
Okay. Something Dan's?
Dan. Oh, maybe this is a good corner.
Yeah, I mean, nothing above 10. So. Oh, 16.
What did it say? No?
Trying hard on this.
This has audio, so maybe when he listens, he can slow it down.
Fine.
Counties? The letter S.
Alright, ladies, the rest of the back. Come on.
Okay. Who the hell is us?
Yeah, I'm geared up for like 12 people. So,
Right.
Yeah. So if I have a full night, which happens a lot on the weekends, like I feel like I'm like light as a feather.
Do I stop the recording?
Yeah, let's go ahead and stop those recordings. Give your hands a break. Noah, your baseline here is going to be a 7 because we do have lamp posts that will give off electricity.
Okay.
So anything above a 7, you'll let me know. What did we hear or see along the way?
I heard a lot of home, like
Home.
over and over again. I heard it a lot.
Okay.
Cloud. I heard cloud.
Also, Mom, tell them about the dig thing.
Yeah, I got dig, and then it says dig on the road, on the ground back
It
there.
does.
Yeah.
Dig 77A.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it.
Interesting.
She got it
I
right.
got dig, rubber, trace, and assistance.
Assistance. I heard
And then
assistance.
Debbie land remove.
That's crazy. So one night, somebody heard a number on Liliana's spirit box, and we didn't know what it meant. And then we walked by the market, and that number was right there. It was a 4-digit number in the right order. Very weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I also walked by a 67, and then a couple minutes later, I heard the 67.
Yeah, the same thing happened with us.
We were talking about 56, and then we saw the number.
We saw it on the Scotchman. That's the address.
That's the address. Interesting.
But like right after we said it, boom, it's right there.
So just to give you an example of how I look at some of this stuff. So one night somebody heard it starts at 2:30 p.m. and then somebody else heard the number 5. It's 2:35. That's the address of the Pinckney Mansion site, and it's exactly where we were. Now, do I know that it was the address back in the 1700s? I don't.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not like Eliza doesn't visit that place to know
Right, still
time has
reference
changed.
point.
Right.
So that is the exact address. I had to look it up because I didn't know it. I'm like 2:30 and then 5. I'm like, let me just see, because I know the address of Big John's and I know where I give the address to meet up. I'm like, we're going downwards. Maybe it is the actual address, and it was. So again, it's just very odd how this works. So I'm glad that you guys are hearing things. So kudos to you. Like, you guys are doing a great job, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
you.
So I mean, nothing's been super relevant just yet, but you're hearing things out of that box. It's not easy. Welcome to Philadelphia Alley. In the event that other tours are going to cut through here, because they will come through that ivy wall, there's a set of stairs right there, or they'll come in where we came in as well. So we just kind of split the seas, let them pass through. I'll stop talking, and because again, I give you a little bit different history here, just because you're ghost hunting. I'm not doing a very campy, cheesy, type of ghost tour. So here's how this goes. Brooklyn's already on it. I love it. Because they're both like going down the same direction, which is super awesome.
Should I go the other way?
Huh?
Should I go the other way?
No, you're perfectly fine. Because
Okay.
if she captures something, I want to see if it shows up there too.
Okay, perfect.
So you guys are like actually right in line. This used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. I say some because dueling was illegal, and they had to find hiding spots to go, perform this duel. So this happened to be one of those spots. So here's how this story goes. Remember that every ghost tour comes down here. This is the space I'm actually retiring this year. I do change this up. I take out one space and add a new one, just because I do get a lot of repeat ghost hunters. They come back and want to do it again. And I just try to make sure like they at least see something different. So our last stop is where we'll be doing that blindfold experiment. And that is our new space for the year. But this one, because every ghost tour comes down here, I'm taking it out. I've been coming here for 4 years. I've been bothering this poor guy for 4 years. So I'm going to take this one out. Here's how it goes. Doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. In the event that the word Brown shows up, or you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not coincidence. It's part of his name, and we get it all the time. Now, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney, helping her out with all of this cash flow that she just got. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes down to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. On his way in, the coachman that he had set him up to be robbed and killed. It's kind of like your Uber driver setting you up for a bad night, right? So yeah, exactly. I say Uber and people like their eyes break up. But anyway, so it's not a really good start. But somebody's walking by and he sees what's about to happen. He's somewhat of a local. He's been here for a few years, and his name is Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. We were getting the letters R-I all the time, like somebody's trying to spell something on a spirit box. Not that I know what the hell starts with R-I, but we were hearing it all the time. So I bought a new device, and it acts just like a Ouija board, but it uses the same type of method that Noah's device does with the EMF. If there's a spike, it generates a letter. It just stops a cursor, and we were getting the letters R-I from this device in this location whenever I brought up Ralph. So that way I knew exactly who it belonged to. So take that for what it's worth. We're just not using it tonight because it's not always super productive. I bring out the best stuff first and then kind of work my way backwards. Back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you do not want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. I know who he is. He's got a gunman inside. Come with me. We're going to go to 59 Church Street. You're going to rent a room from some friends of mine and you'll be safe and good to go. The doctor took him up on the offer and they became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's cash flow. Amanda gets wind of this, she's moving down so they can be married, and Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. What I'm going to tell you is that every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. That's another reason why I'm taking this story out. So probably after this month, I start researching for the next year starting in November. You can imagine that October is very busy for ghost hunting, right? So back to Dr. Ladd. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He just gets better seats. It's like you two go see a movie together, but she makes more money than you, so you get the crappy seats. They talk about these plays on the way home. they go see Richard III, and they're arguing over this actress that they just saw. They'd never seen her before, but Dr. Ladd thought she was great, and Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets really ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town. He goes to the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of bullshit. The doctor's seen the ad, but rebutted with, let's just go to Dueler's Alley. Let's settle this once and for all. Yeah. Keep in mind that this actress, or this whole argument started over this actress. That I don't even know who her name was, because I tried digging into that, seeing if we were going to get the name showing up on a spirit box. Anyway, so they came down here, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots his one bullet. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up, which is often what happened at a duel. Or they shoot it off to the side. Dr. Ladd shot his in the air. Ralph has his one bullet in his flintlock. Anybody want to guess what part of the body he put it in?
Leg.
What part of his leg? You were kind of really good at this. It was his kneecap. So he gets shot in the knee. The doctor doesn't die. He falls to the ground. As does my equipment. So it's all insured. Don't worry about it. But anyway, so he falls to the ground. His friends picked him up. They took him up to 59 Church Street, and he died 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. I'll point out two things. First off, he died in 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back in 1786 than what we think of as a gunshot wound now. Yeah, and he's also a doctor. He probably just tried to bleed it out himself because he probably thought he just had lead poisoning. But he failed because he died. Every ghost tour that comes down here will tell you to listen for the whistles. Luckily for us, we're using equipment. My voice recorder and the two cameras, if we have a whistle going on down here, they will capture it. Cool thing is for you is if you're going to try to walk all the way through this alley and use your voice recorders from your phone after you're not here with me, because I can't take you all the way down here because I've actually been kicked out of this place. We're going to talk about that in just a minute because that's the fun part of the story. But listen to your voice recorder later on and see if you have anything. Just keep in mind, every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. We all do it. I do it every single morning when I'm done with your data. My office is this way, my garage is that way, which means I pass the alley every single morning, about 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, and I always throw, hey, Dr. Ladd. I do it every morning. So just kind of keep that in mind when you guys are trying this out on your own. So let's talk about how I got kicked out. This is the fun part. And I was like, oh shit, who did we sign up for? But so this alley, this will also show you how I kind of do all my research too. This alley didn't always go all the way through this way. There was a wall up there, about halfway between us and Cumberland Street. The reason why is because this used to be called Cow Alley. This is where they kept the livestock. So imagine cows and chickens everywhere. So we do get the word cow and alley that show up here all the time too. But anyway, what does that mean for you? That means the bricks on the other side of this alley by Queen Street are older.
This thing went up like 8 degrees. Is that
in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. This actually gets really warm.
Okay.
In the summertime, I speed through this so we can get the hell out because we're all sweltering by the time we're done. I'm not surprised. So what's the temperature now? About 76?
Well, it just went back down to 73. It went up to 79, and then now it's back down to 72.
Interesting.
When we got here, it was at
heat anomaly.
70.
I think it says orb.
We do get a lot of orbs
throw
down
it
here.
in there.
We actually get a lot of orbs down here. Yeah, with the other camera.
Yeah, 71.6.
Well, the cool thing is that Kelly's been
like it's
recording you
changed
guys the
at all.
entire time. So I'm going to be watching this part of the video to see if anything weird is going on with where you two are sitting. So kudos to Kelly.
We'll
Good
see.
job.
Boom.
I know, right? You're going to have a job later. You good with that?
Cool.
Okay, good.
Stay
So
here.
back to Cow Alley. Those bricks on the other side are older than the ones we're standing on. They are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child in one of those bricks down there and fingerprint swipes in the others. I used to take my folks down there just for the history piece. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. I'm not expecting anything paranormal. I just need to show off how far we've come from slavery because you're in Charleston. You're going to hear about slavery.
Right.
So, November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 is huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along because it's also outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't realize that I was out of bounds for tours. I was new at this. So the new owner of that mansion came out. He was screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. She thought it was hysterical. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I worked for the biggest retailer in the world for a good 10 to 12 years, upper management. You can understand why I don't work on Thanksgiving anymore. So the next day I called my partner that I had at the time and I told him what happened. He laughed at me too, just like my daughter did. He's like, you're only allowed to go down halfway, dude. You got to reroute your group. So what I told my team that night, let's let this couple pass through. How you doing, folks?
Hi, how are you?
Good. You're like in the most perfect spot of Charleston right now. Like this is the most peaceful place ever.
It looks awesome.
It is. It's beautiful down here. No, you just not. You tell me you broke it all together. Don't hit buttons. asked me a question. Look at that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do you want to go see that brick? Is that what you want to go see? Can we go see it on our own time?
Yeah. You just can't be there with a tour guide.
Exactly. Gotcha.
Because it's out of bounds. It's residential.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
back to our
Gotcha.
story. The next day, again, I told my team I'm going to reroute the group, but I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen over there, and I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're going to be talking about pirates next in case you didn't pick up on that. But somebody with a spirit box, here's the name Anne, before we leave the space. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be talking about. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So it's kind of like, oh shit, maybe we're going to get something. We go up and around the corner, another person with a spirit box, here's the number 300. I don't know what that means. I write it down. The next day I'm doing the research for them, and it turns out we were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial.
That's cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you guys say that. I was actually pissed off. Let me tell you why. Because now I have to investigate it all the time because my problem with pirates, I have a master's degree in creative writing. Especially when I'm doing things like this, I like facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore, which were written 100 years after the events actually occurred. So we don't know how true anything is. You know how many books I've had to read on pirates to try to make sure what we're doing out here is legit? It's a lot of damn books on a subject that I usually don't give a shit about. I'm a big pirate connoisseur now. I'll play video games with them, I watch documentaries now, and half my library is now based on pirates. So it's hysterical, but all at the same time, I know what I'm talking about. That's the cool thing. Where we're going is a 50-50 shot roll of the dice if Anne's going to be there at the same time we are. I'll explain why we're there and why she would be attracted to that place, but she is said to be seen all over town. So the hope here is that hopefully you guys are going to be getting pieces that are going to be relative to this place as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. You guys are going to hear weird shit over there. You're going to need to tell me everything you hear because there's like 15 stories on that corner that I didn't tell you about yet. I only tell you about those things if they actually occur with your data. So we're going to go up and around the corner and stay out of the way of the other tours. Are you recording? I can't see a red light on there. Oh, your hand's in the way. I'm sorry. So other tours might be in that area. Again, what is today? Tuesday? Yeah, so it's a random Tuesday. We're probably not going to see much. I just still like to stay out of their way. They're doing something totally different than we are. Any other major questions? Oh, the gate behind me. So this will also show you how I do my research. Remember I told you that the alley didn't go all the way through this way? So if there's a duel down here and somebody loses, which means they're dead, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of this wall. Otherwise, they'd have to walk all the way down to the end of the alley, which you can see because it's nice and clear, and then double back with the dead body to be able to drop them off before celebrating with the winner. So the wrought iron probably wasn't put here until the early 1900s, but you can definitely see that the archway is part of the original wall. So it did have a purpose for this particular thing. And there is rumor that Andrew Jackson even had a duel down here. So I can't find any proof of that, but he was also president, so anything dealing with criminal activity with a president is probably going to be hidden. It's probably in what's the book that they have at the White House? Like that hidden book that's in the library somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's probably one of those. But yeah, there is rumor of it. I just can't find any data. You guys ready to learn about Rated R Pirates?
Yes.
That was
Yes.
a dad joke, and you all got it. I appreciate that.
Our-
Let's do this. I know, right? So you can stop that if you want. You can keep it rolling. Up to you. So we're just going up and around the corner.
Yeah, you had to emphasize the R more.
Well, I do that to see who catches it. So you have to remember I'm a wordsmith, and I'm
Okay.
putting words in your guys' head from time to time, just to kind of see how things go. So is this what you two thought you signed up for?
Yeah.
I know you were like super excited about it.
Yeah.
I ended up getting blood. Are we too far for blood?
No.
I got, while we were here, I got a lot. I got Charlie Division, Head, Forget, Hardware, Blood, Hall, Question, Sight, Orb, Representative, Faint, Born, and Actress.
Wow.
A lot of words.
So words, correct? Let me tell you who that is. So, I told you there's not a whole lot of activity that comes out of cemeteries, but we were very close to St. Philip Cemetery. It was literally on the other side of the wall. Charles Pinckney, the nephew of Eliza, is buried across the street, and he was a state representative. So take that for what it's worth. And that said Charlie. But we also had the word actress in there. Remember, our two duelers were starting to argue over an actress. So that's a term that I'm commonly familiar with showing up over there. What were the other ones again? Because I thought there was something else. I was like, there's something else in there.
Blood. Yeah.
Oh, you had Paul in there as well.
Hall, Question,
Oh.
Sight, Orb, Representative, Faint, Born, Actress, and then since then I've gotten Function, Type, Next, No, Classify.
So it's not relevant at the space that you found it, but I do want you to keep the words blood and Paul in the back of your brain. It'll make more sense later on. I don't think it's relevant unless we have something else that comes up with this particular person. But I will tell you all about that later when we're near that space. All right, so we're here because of the tiny little gunpowder magazine. That's why most tours come here. We come to the back because they like to cut through and they talk about the building for 2 minutes and then they're on their way. We're going to be here talking about the history for about 5 to 6 minutes, so I get a break from the bag, and then you guys are going to explore the space and see what the hell's going on in here. So, those are not crosses on the building. Those are earthquake bolts. So, if you're not familiar with those, they're basically turnbuckles. So, if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, which we have not, you can tighten those in opposite directions, and it tightens the building up so it doesn't incur any further damage.
Oh, wow.
It's a great idea, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, Californians usually laugh their asses off at me whenever I bring this up, because they know that that technology is very old and it never works. The only reason I bring these up specifically is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. If you want to see something a little bit more modern, look at the brick building behind it. If you look at every single floor, you'll see peach squares in the bricks. Yeah. So they're kind of hard to see. You got to kind of strain your eyes because of the color of them. But that's what a more modern earthquake bolt looks like. You guys have also seen them around town in the shape of lion heads and pineapples. That's just part of the Charleston charm bullshit to keep tourists coming back in. So it's a lot of pictures. It's a lot of Instagram. It's a lot of social media for us. So yeah, it just doesn't work.
Well, if you say that you don't get earthquakes here, why did they go through so much trouble to implement those specific designs into like all the buildings?
It was an easy way to decor the city. The reason why I'm telling you about these specifically, though, is because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. They were afraid that this was going to turn into a place that was going to get earthquakes all the time. The reason why is that earthquake I told you about in 1886, if we would have had a Richter scale like designed yet, it would have been like an 8.6.
I guess that kind of makes sense too, way back when something like that would
scare the
them.
shit out of Ellen. Yeah, they don't have the science and tech
to
and
know
enough
that
people
it's
to
not
research.
going to keep happening.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Now we do get earthquakes here, but they're usually like very small, so
Right.
like 1 to 2s. So we don't, I mean, every once in a while I'll feel them. I live an hour inland, so we still get them. I feel them out there. But down here, I don't really see us getting any more crazy 8.6s. And they're going based off the damage. So, and that 8.6 is a guesstimate. I know it's an over 8. Did you hear something?
I keep hearing a ticking noise.
Oh, I hear that. I think it's Bug.
Thank you. He can't hear it.
I don't hear it either.
What? I heard it. I think it's a
Bug?
bug.
Bug. Okay.
But I hear it.
If that's the ticking noise you hear, was it?
There, I hear it.
Well, now
Oh,
that
there
you
it is.
told me about the gate. I feel like that was the gate you were talking about. Oh my gosh, it says above it.
Mom.
The archway is original.
Calm
above
down.
the gate.
Yeah.
I told you we'd get bleed over from there over here.
I'm sorry, it's still freaking me out.
Well, welcome to ghost hunting, dear. It's not, nobody's touching you, nobody's taking you out.
You don't know that?
Yeah, I asked Eliza to come up, rub against me, and she did.
Hut.
Shoot. See, now we were.
You have shoot on there?
Yeah, they just said shoot and then okay.
Dog, that's kind of...
Whoa.
That means you're missing shit in real time. Listen in.
Okay.
All right, let's get into pirates. The reason why we're here is because of that building. That building took 10 years to build. So right in the middle of its construction, which by the way, does 10 years sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. It's perfectly fine. So I know none of you work for the government. So I did have an FBI agent on my tour one night. I didn't realize it. And he's like, can you stop with the government jokes? I'm like, no, dude, our government sucks. You guys got some shitty tactics. Anyway, back to this one. And Bonnie was coming here at the same time that this building was being constructed. So it's a familiar. So if you guys watch the TV shows, you'll see that they use a Boo Buddy. It's basically a teddy bear with a K2 meter in it, the blinky light that we're not using like Noah's device. They use it because the child would recognize the toy as something, like as a toy. So they're going to come near it. Think of that premise as this. There's not many buildings this old in Charleston that Anne would actually recognize, which is part of the reason why we're here. We do have some, so she may be visiting any one of those. But we're going to hopefully be here at the same time that she is. Anyway, back to our story. There's a lot of twists here. Try to follow me. You might want to actually circle in a little bit. So 1708 is when our story begins. Anne Cormac comes here with her father and his mistress from Ireland. It's 1708. So the mistress is Anne's mother, by the way. So did you guys capture all that? The young lady comes here with her dad and his girlfriend. The girlfriend is her mom.
Dad.
Yeah?
Okay.
You with me?
Yeah.
The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. It's 1708, and he has an illegitimate child. So that's why it's a big scandal. It's 1708. Things were much different back then. So they land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. If you're not familiar with our coast, Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. So that means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell anything from that plantation to keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. Now, Anne back home in Ireland was said to be a badass even back then. When she was back in Ireland at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, they say that she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Can't tell you how many times we've had like servant, knife, and belly all show up from 3 different devices, and one person doesn't know what the other 2 people have. Happens all the time. Now, fast forwarding. The building is done in 1713, but by 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is pretty stoked. So the reason why is she's going to fall in love with one of these pirates, so that way she can get her freedom, just like a man. The first guy she falls in love with is James Bonny. And I said first because there's a handful, and we're going to talk about all of them. That's what makes the story so damn interesting. James Bonny, and you can already see where this one's going because we've already mentioned her pirate name. Dad did not approve because he's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married, and Cormac becomes Anne Bonny. There's her pirate name. Now, when they get down there, she realizes James Bonny is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love again. A few years later, this guy's John Rackham, guy number 2. Everybody calls him Calico Jack. That's why I was wondering about the name Jack that you heard earlier. This is the guy, by the way, that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who this guy actually is. Jack has his own crew. He has his own ship. You cannot put a female on a pirate ship, even though Anne wants to be part of it. Does anybody know why you can't put a female on a pirate ship? Keep it family friendly. Yeah,
That's
there's
a
a
bad
chuckle.
reason.
Because they're gonna be stronger than the men.
They're bad luck. Good try.
I disagree.
You can all you want. I'm okay with that. I'm on a team full of women and Noah. So, I just say,
We're
do whatever
screwed.
you want. I know, right? So, they're bad luck. So
I don't know. I think she disagreed with me. She said probably.
Oh, nice. Now, Jack makes a deal with Anne. He says if you dress like the guy and look like the crew, you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this part. She's okay with that because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world, and she's a pirate. Let's go. But let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. They're going to get rid of Jack. They'll vote him off because there is a democracy on every ship. So before she starts to show her pregnancy, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here. These are friends of mine. They'll help you. Come back later, and we'll figure it out. She goes and has that baby, returns without a baby. We have no idea what the hell happened to that child. None of my research has ever found it. But she also comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. So, to make him even more mad, now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the ship. You guys are getting the point of that, right?
Yep.
To make him more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that he just captured. They're down below deck. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate, to be hiding her gender. So her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time period, but the British find out where they are. They send an entire Navy fleet of ships to come take out one measly little pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. They don't know how to use cannons yet because they haven't been pirates for very long. Obviously, 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns are not going to take on a whole fleet of Navy ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, they're getting handcuffed, and Anne looks at Jack, her captain and beau, and she says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up a lot on your communication, just so you know.
I heard dog.
The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front, reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and the judge doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted to him because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging, but Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't know jack shit about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed dies 5 months later in April of 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will tell you that it was something simple like, a fever. I say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? I'm not going to assign questions here. You guys can ask this woman whatever you want to. I will tell you what I left out of this piece of history on purpose so you guys had something to work with. So pick and choose whatever you want. This is not that prominent English woman. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and his mistress. I left out the name of Calico Jack's ship on purpose. The name of the city where Anne grew up and the color of her hair. So everything else that you want to ask, I might not be able to prove it, but if you want to ask about that baby in Cuba, by all means do so. If you get a direct answer, that is personal to you as long as you get a direct answer. So it just kind of depends on how it turns up, if I'll count it as actual evidence or not. Everything else is fair game. So we're going to spread around the lot. We only have one vehicle off in the corner. Just be mindful of other tours, and if, it looks like both cameras are already recording. So Brooklyn, just so you know, the ivy wall behind you is not your friend because leaves are all in front of one another, and it's going to look like a whole row of men sitting down here because that's what it does. So it's basically everything anywhere else. Noah, I get excited about a 2.5 in here, just so you know. We do have 2 electrical poles in the corners, parking meters on the other side of the bushes. So the further away you are from that and you have a reading, I'm more excited about those. Everybody else, let's spread out. Liliana, have you heard anything?
Yeah, every time you would mention like for example, like baby or like pregnant or family, or something, like I'd get family and just stuff like that.
Okay, and you said you heard the word dog as well?
Yeah.
We're not helping anybody here. That's not my bag.
Dude, this is so, it's giving me a headache.
Yeah.
We can't talk to someone missing.
I know. And what are your parents' names?
That's right.
20? No.
Maybe.
Charles? Charles. Oh my god, imagine that's his name. I just said, what are your parents' names?
Oh my god, I forgot it.
And what is your mother's name?
I love your guys' laser focus, by the way. So every time I speak, you guys are like,
We're so into this. We got a name.
what do you got?
Charles.
Again. Damn it. Charles keeps coming by.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well,
Is that not her dad's name?
it is not.
Oh.
Remember,
said-
we had Charlie and Representative. I told you he's buried across the street.
We were
So-
hoping this guy's name was also Charles because we said, "What's your
What's
dad's,
your dad's name?" And then we heard
and
Charles.
we heard Charles immediately. But
Oh,
his name.
interesting. But we are also, I hear from Charles quite a bit in October because he was born in October, died in October. So 26th and 29th. So
He's
sorry.
around.
See why I have to keep track of like what
Yeah.
the hell's going on around us. So if you hear the name Charles, I'm not like, oh well, I don't know who that is. Let me research. I get excited when I have to research. So when you get something specific where I'm like, yeah, I know you're gonna hear this because we're in the month of October.
Yeah.
So I kind of expect it, but at the same time, it's like we're not. That's not what we're after. Like go away, go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anything crazy going on with your cam?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Not yet, but maybe.
Yeah. Damn it. I don't always bring out the spirit box, so every time I do, I tend to flock to the people that are actually using it, so I can help out.
What color is your hair? I've gotten rubber.
Really?
Last night.
Yeah, and usually what comes out of that, I definitely research. So when I have last night, I take note of which spirit box it came out of, and I look at yesterday's date to see if it's relevant.
Oh.
You see where I go
Yeah,
with
that
that?
makes sense. Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's always real time. It's I have to say like, oh, why are they saying the words last night, or are they saying next week? You know what I mean? I would be more intrigued if it was like 2 weeks from now, and it's obviously his death and birth.
Right. Right.
And you had the name Charles. So
True. That would be cool. 10%. One. It actually did. There's not a lot of activity over here.
Yeah. It was really
Yeah, we were good over
heavy
here.
over there.
You hear Charles again? No?
Maybe. It really could have been Charles again.
And what is your parents' names? Dave? Gravy? Was that last night
I
again?
heard it last night again. I'm glad you said that. How does he not bring this one out every time?
I know,
So-
like, this seems like the slam dunk.
Right?
It's so fun.
It's so fun.
Like, I'm just gonna bring a radio around my house.
Mm-hmm.
This is, like, so cool. I keep people in my frame. And what color is your hair? What is the name of your ship? Give us anything.
Who's your favorite lover of all?
Yeah, who was
All
the best?
five. $200. Cool, though. They didn't even look like
One?
one.
We got 200,
One.
one, and
Last
another
night.
last night.
Something important happened last night.
Something. And give us some info.
It was clear, too.
I know.
There's that. What was
I don't know.
We've heard last night
Again.
Okay.
200. 1.
201. So that could also be like February 1st.
Yeah.
So a lot of times with these spirit boxes being slowed down, you're going to get extra terms before and after the actual message. So what color is a big red barn? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. I don't need Rudolph the nose reindeer. I just need the red in between it all. So what'd you get?
78. Time.
That's at times 4.
Times 4.
Times 4.
78 times 4.
Where's your phone?
36.
Times 4.
He's on his phone. His grandson just tried to call him. We're making sure that day.
Oh, I'm rolling.
What times 4, though? 1 times 4? 200 times 4? 70 times 4? Be a little more specific, please.
Can you be clearer with your message?
I mean, I don't know for sure.
That's why I said like you might shrink yourself James was
Let's go by that creepy building.
Saturday. Said Saturday.
Well, it hasn't done nothing the whole time I've
Unfair.
So that's like super interesting.
Good idea.
Good idea.
Saturday, good idea.
Yesterday's date to see
Right?
so. Yep.
Police.
Police.
Police. Saturday. Good idea. And the police.
Yeah. None of those are going to be priority terms.
Damn it. I keep listening.
And her trial was on a Wednesday. I had to look that up. All right.
Give us pirate news.
We need more relevant terms, please.
Peg leg? Parrot. Imagine we just say that. Okay, also if you want to appear.
I'm keeping this thing as far as 45.
No.
Are you only getting it when you're on the phone?
Yeah.
Dang it. Ghost hunting. Come on, ghosts. Make ghosty noises
Speak to us. Be specific.
in pirate terms.
It knows we're recording.
Dang it.
I want to hear what you two have heard. What do you guys got now?
Nothing new.
yet.
Nothing new. Okay. You guys are keeping me busy. That's a good thing.
I don't know why, but I keep hearing family. It's like reoccurring every single time.
Yeah. You said it at just about every location. All right, Alexa, let's put you on mute. So, remember the heated warning I gave you guys at the top of the night? This is part of the reason why is this particular location. That's why I kept asking you how you were feeling. So she did mention a slight headache, mainly because of the spirit box, so it's kind of giving her a headache. And that's okay. But this is one of the reasons why I gave that heated warning is this location. About 2 years ago, month of September, so temperature roughly the same. I took my team to the back like I normally do, and the kid next to me starts to faint. You did have the word faint earlier. So I literally have to pick this kid up by his armpit and, get him over here. His boyfriend brought him over with me, and we just got him to sit down. I got him some water. He was then feeling better. I then told them the history that I told you about Ann Bonnie because he was feeling better. And I told everybody spread out. This was our last stop. This used to be the last stop. So I said, go have fun. I would tell like 3 stories and go explore. These 2 guys pulled me aside and told me, Nick, we are 2 transgender males. Meaning I had 2 females dressed like males, just like in Anne Mary in the story, on the tour. So that kind of gives you an idea of the weird shit that I see. So that's why I give that heated warning. Psychics and mediums, if I have somebody that's a true psychic medium but doesn't know how to control what they have, I make sure they don't have a spirit box because it's 2 different types of messaging, and that's just going to confuse the hell out of them. And secondly, most of them are going to pass out with the kind of EMF that we get at the Pinkley Mansion site, especially if we're hitting triple digits. So that's another safety feature that I usually have, which is exactly why I have you guys show up early. So again, I like to kind of know who I'm working with. She told me about the equipment she's using. You guys get the point. So, but with that, that's why I always have you guys show up early so I know who I'm working with. And then the subliminal message trick, like obviously that we did at the Pinkley Mansion site. But let's get into it. You can start recording.